All right, gang, that looks like it is time and we are on. So, hello and welcome everybody. Give me a wave if you're alive and, okay, perfect. Good to see you. I see lots of familiar faces, some not so familiar faces, but regardless, welcome. So great to see you here. And I am really excited for us to do a couple of things. Number one, I want to debrief a little bit about the results that you have created in this show. And I got to stop. There's a video playing in the background in my ear that I just must stop. Otherwise, that is not going to go well for my sanity. And we don't want to push that envelope, just to be clear. Those that know me is like, yeah, clearly you should stop. And the rest are like not quite sure what to make of that. But the purpose today is this: is to debrief the results of the experience for you, and to celebrate what it is that you have created. To have a glass of vino in that celebration, and to connect with what has worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, all of those pieces. It is also to invite you to make sure that you have additional tools and resources for your next step and stages. We got a couple of master classes that really seem to help people from where they're leaving off from the 5-day challenge. And of course, I want to invite you all to participate in JVology Live, which I've told you about 7,892 times. But I'm happy to do it 7,893. And as well, and with no, how do I put this? With no manipulated or contrived bit of tension, give away about $12,000. So we'll leave that to the very end. All right. So first things first, my friends. What I want to do is this. I want to hear from a couple of you in terms of what were your results in the process? What was your experience in the process? And by the way, for those of you who were kind enough to answer the results in terms of what it is that you created and what it felt like and what was the best parts and those sorts of things, I deeply appreciate it. But sometimes it also changes from when you made that post to when we get here. And I would love to hear a little bit more about what your experience was in relationship to the results as well. So if you're willing to share and give us a rundown, then I would love for you to put your hand up and unmute yourself and fill me in. My dear friend Shereese, how are you, my dear?
Hi. So I found something really interesting. So I did this challenge last month, and like half of you guys I remember from the challenge last month. So hi. But so last month I was really like, I was on spring break, so I had a lot of extra time, and so I was really in the group and engaging and everything. And Jay's promise is that you'll walk away with 5 partners. Well, last month when I was like kind of grinding, I walked away with I think like 25 potential partners. This time, I was like in the middle of a launch and back to school and all this stuff, and so I was like barely present to like post on each post, and that was about it. And I still got 5 partners. So I just wanted to compare and contrast the effort versus like no effort, and how even with almost no effort, you can still be successful.
Awesome. Now, can I ask a couple of quick questions there?
Sure.
Okay. So there's also, to me, another component of this that's important to point out, which is there is also leverage and momentum in work that we do previous, both in a community, so the community of JVology Live, where you're well-known and well-loved and well-liked and supported and those sorts of things. There's momentum and leverage that happens from showing up in the way that you showed up in the last challenge. There's leverage and momentum in how you showed up the last JVology Live. So there's some pretty powerful pieces that go on along with that. So I want to, can you add to what influence you think I'm going to say the leverage and the momentum of the relationships and community had on that? Because I'm not sure that anyone else could have necessarily pulled that off, is why I want to point that out.
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. I would probably say the 5 partners that I got from this time, probably 3 of the 5 were people who saw me last time, but we just didn't connect last time. So yeah, I will agree that it definitely does have to do with that momentum. And the way that I really showed up last time was that I was just kind of engaged in people's responses. If I saw somebody that I thought I could help or I could connect somebody with, I was happy to tag people. If I saw somebody said that they were looking for X, and then a few posts later someone else does X, I would just connect them. And so that a lot of that had that reciprocity where people were like, wow, you're really helpful. Like, how can I help you? And so I do think a lot of that momentum carried into this time, because a lot of people doing the challenge this time happened to do it last time, right? There was like a good amount of people that were like, let's do it again. So
Which speaks to the power of the process and of the community, which I just want to, thumbs up to everybody who did that, including you.
Yeah, and some of you guys on this call. Yep, you and you and you. Yep, I see you all. And so, so being engaged and showing up that way last time, I think definitely had a knock-on effect. And in fact, a lot of people I spoke to last time on our calls, I was saying, hey, did you know that they're doing it again next month? And that wasn't the plan. So you should totally do it. I'm totally going to do it. And let's do it even better this time. So even having that back-to-back really helped me I think really helped the situation for people to be even more engaged this time around. So I saw a lot more people commenting and posting and connecting with other people this time around than I did last time. Yeah, so I guess it's not fair to say just show up and barely try. Maybe try. Maybe try. Trying will definitely give you the most amount of results.
Okay, love that, and I appreciate the distinction. Anyone else? I'd love to hear what your results were, what your experience was, what you learned in the process. Yes, please. And I have you on my second screen. I think it's Chris. I'm gonna have to move that screen back so I can read everybody's names. There we go.
Christian?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Jay.
How are you?
Good. So I think for me, I actually took part in the challenge probably a year ago. And what I wrote in the comments today was, you and I have talked at a couple of another event at one point, and I've been a college soccer coach for 25 plus years, and now I have a sports leadership and recruiting education platform. First time when I went through it, I just went through the motions. This time I think it was a new awareness, and when I talk with my athletes, it's about awareness. And when you have a new set awareness, then you have an opportunity to grow into that awareness. And for me, that was the biggest thing, is I had a new awareness from doing it the first time, that now this time I knew I had an opportunity to grow into those opportunities. And I think that was the big aha for me, was being able to grow into that new awareness. And that new awareness gave you more confidence. And as with any athlete, new confidence leads to performance. I'm equating it back to being, the coaching terms and everything that.
Oh, I'm losing you, brother.
Yeah. So those were the two things. Those were, a new awareness, increased confidence led to, it's not the partner here even, it's the partners I found outside the challenge, and powerful partners for me. Yeah. That I would not have necessarily asked, but because you have confidence and you have a support system in this environment, you now have the confidence to go out and ask the big players or someone else that can make a major difference. Absolutely true.
Awesome. So how many partners did through that awareness, how many partners did you tackle, Kristen?
I have 3 that are secured. I have 2 more that we're having conversations this week, and 3 more that are set up, I'm finalizing some things this week, and then 3 more that I definitely want to reach out to. I just have to find out who I want to reach out to. But what I found is, through the process, who should I be looking for now? And that was the big thing. I really found 3 people. I found 3 areas in which I want to find a partner that I never even a week ago would have never even crossed my mind as, let's find somebody that provides, dorm refrigerators and linens for college dorms, because that's that upstream. What problem needs to be solved now that I've gotten the kid a scholarship, I've helped them find a place they're going to go play college soccer. Now they're going to be moving in dorm. Who can solve that problem for them?
Perfect. So I just want to reiterate, how many of you found the upstream, downstream process, once you wrapped your head and heart around it, was like, oh, that just simplifies this process about 12 million %?
Yes. Jay, the reality is I didn't get it the first time. I struggled with the last time. I think it went back to my awareness. Now that I had done it once and now I was aware, it really became clear what that should be. And that's what made it better.
Yeah, perfect. Well, and honest to goodness, I some of you on this call know this, but I'll still say it just so you have some perspective on it. I would say that I was in the JV space for a solid 3 years before it was like, wait a second, there's a flow here that I need to really rationalize and organize and put some thoughts to make this easier. Because it was like nobody else was talking about it. It was like, oh, go find a partner. Well, who the hell? So just know that I was swimming in the pool a long time before I figured out which way was upstream and downstream. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Who else is willing to share what the results were, how it went for them, what they noticed? Yes, please, Monica.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, so I was kind of late to the show because I signed up and then all the emails from you went into my junk mail. And I never saw anything until I think day 4 when I was looking for something from a client who was like, I sent it to you, go look for it. And I saw a whole bunch of emails from you and I went, oh shit, I gotta do that. So even though I started on like day 4, I still managed to I didn't have conversations, but I had 2 conversations and I have 2 more in the next 2 weeks. So it works. And yeah, it was so easy. One thing, I had a conversation just before this one, and we were both laughing about like how easy it is to have a conversation and actually talk about what you offer and, you know, what you're looking for without waiting for the pitch, you know, the sales pitch from the other person, you know, when you're cringing, going, I'm waiting. So that was such a breath of fresh air because you're just swapping ideas. You're saying, this is what I do. And the other person is saying, this is what I do. Let's see if we can come together. Let's see if we can create something amazing. So this was like the biggest aha moment for me. And I thank you so much for that.
You are very, very welcome. It is the power of a peer-to-peer conversation versus a retail conversation where there's always that, and now they're going to, you know, we get to actually create and collaborate instead of being worried about some dumb pitch. I don't know how else to put that. Yeah. And half the time I'm afraid to comment on people's posts because then I get the DM going, hey, I want to find out what you're doing, what your business is. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I totally understand. Very cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anyone else want to share how their results are in terms of partners, what they learned and noticed, how this is going to apply? Paige, so good to see you, by the way. And then Mostafa.
Hi there. So what I really valued was, you know, my type of work is always working with the other side. So sometimes I get a little airy-fairy, but I have this Capricorn side that likes process. Mm-hmm. And so I loved the structure that there was I'm going to call it a pattern to follow. And that upstream, downstream, I really picked up on it when I was at your last live JV event. Do you remember that? It wasn't too long ago.
Well, on one hand, about 2.7 million years ago. On the other hand, 8 weeks.
I know. We just got home from that and, you know, all for shit went down. Anyways, but I really liked that there was this process to follow, and it really registered with my logical brain. And then seeing it play out when I was on Facebook and putting things down, and then people are saying, hey, let's chat. And I'm like, oh my God, they're talking to me. I was like, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Facette.
Very cool. You are very, very welcome. Mustafa, brother.
Good afternoon, good evening. I just want to say that this time I barely played and I have 5 calls booked. So still, you know, looking forward to connect with people, but I'm pretty sure something will come out of those 5 calls, and there's more to come. And there are a few people in here that I still haven't connected with that I would love to chat with.
Cool.
So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. And what I know you've been hanging around. So Mustafa actually joined Joint Venture Mastery, our premium program. It wasn't the first time it was offered. I guess it was the second time it was offered in Calgary. So you've been around the block a couple of times and are really starting to I would say, push and create cool results. So what was the biggest takeaway other than the meetings and those sorts of things in terms of seeing the experience from a different perspective?
I think the last round really prepped me, and going through and following the instructions was the really good part for me because I don't
Following
really
instructions.
I don't really follow instructions very often, but this time following instructions actually got me results. Last time I had probably 20, 25 people that I chatted with and got a lot of results, filled up our event basically through the JV partnerships. And the biggest thing I think would be just to be JV ready, you know, which was another column that I added to that worksheet. Is he or she JV ready, which was a good one. So I guess once people have their offer and they are well versed on the offer and they know the components of what they're offering, that's all that matters. Yeah. And like you mentioned in your videos, it's all about the relationships. I see a lot of people that are like trying to sell, or, you know, but they forget the person that's in front of them, and it just doesn't work.
It does not. So just on that note, following instructions, did anyone else follow instructions better the second time through? It's okay. All right. So
for me, it was like this time I knew the instructions. I just followed through.
Well, there might be an ongoing joke in my home about following the instructions, like putting IKEA furniture together and those sorts of things. So I do fully understand. That said, the element that I want to just acknowledge you for is this idea of identifying stages. And in fact, I want to give a little plug to one of the adaptations that we're going to do at JVology Live. So there's a whole bunch of you that have been before. So like Mostafa and Paige and James and Shereese and a few others as well. We are actually going through a process at the beginning to actually identify folks in the room in 3 different categories. And the first category is eager and willing. And what that means is I have something going on. I am learning, I'm putting the pieces together and like bring it on. And eager and willing, by the way, can be some of the greatest partners in the universe because of their commitment to support and show up. Then there is in process, and we would call in process those folks that have let me just back up for eager and willing so we're on the same page, because this is something that you guys are going to need to know when you attend. So for eager and willing, it is they are still refining their product, service, or experience. They're trying to land on what is that exact offer that they have and trying to collect their first 5 or 10 testimonials from very happy clients. So they're just still in that figuring it out and navigating their way through process. Now, the in process, those folks have everything that they need. So they've got the technology set up, they've got the swipe copy set up, they've got a conversion process set up, and but they're just in the process of connecting the dots. So maybe they have to tweak swipe copy to make it a little bit easier for you and your community. Maybe they have to get you to do something that maybe they have to get you to, you know, manually put in for a partner, those sorts of things. But, you know, the truth is if they said yes, in 24 to 72 hours, you would be set up and operational. Okay, like you were up and running and rolling, and you could actually do a deal with them. And then there are those that are ready with, you know, capital letters all the way through, which is like, here's the partner link, sign up, and in 32 seconds, you will have everything that you require for this particular date, and away you go. So I want to be clear about this. One is not necessarily better than the other. What is vitally important, and I think this is what Mostafa was talking about in terms of adding to his sheet, is that we just need to know your stage of development, and please hear this, and so do you, because otherwise it doesn't help. We need to know your stage of development. You need to know the stage of development so that we can come together in a way that actually is still a win-win-win for everybody involved, because otherwise it isn't necessarily. So anyway, that's just one of the things we're going to do differently at JVology Live to help serve and support people to, number one, understand their stage, understand what has to happen, help with the connection so we know what's going on, and accelerate the conversation and the evolution. You want to add to that, Mostafa?
Yes. I just want to mention a couple of points about the playing when you were giving for 3 years before other people started helping you. I just had an amazing experience where from last month when we were running the challenge, I had a couple of people that actually started promoting our event without asking for much in return. Mm-hmm. They were just supporting. Yep. And so one day, one of my speakers at the event just canceled on me like last minute. So here's what happened. I called the person that drove the most traffic who didn't ask for much in return. I said, I got a spot open that opened up, and can you show up in 3 hours and speak for 10 minutes to my group? And they showed up. And had they not supported me there, they probably wouldn't have had that 10-minute spot, right?
Well, not probably. They wouldn't have, right? You wouldn't have had that thought in a million years.
Exactly. So they just showed up in front of the class, and they got some exposure to our students and the rest of it. And there was a couple of other things that I was going to mention, and I totally forgot. But because I'm tired, I've been working like 18-hour days for the past God knows how long.
I understand, brother. All right. We'd love to hear from a couple more in terms of the results and the experience, what you learned, how this is going to carry forward for your business model. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Elizabeth.
Unmute myself. Right.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So thanks. And I just wanted to say thank you for putting this together and making networking so easy. I've always hated networking. You know, you go to those meetings and like, why am I here? And I feel like I'm an extrovert, but whenever I go into networking meetings, I'm an introvert and I just got to get away. But now I have no fear, and it's so clear, you know, who my upstream and downstream is and how to look for them and how to have that conversation. So I really, I'm very appreciative of that.
Cool. And how about results in terms of nailing partners down, in terms of conversations, in terms of where that's going to go?
Yeah, I did this I did it last year. And last year I was kind of like, I loved it. It was exhilarating because it was so easy to talk to people and you know, make connections. I think I ended up with like 3 or 4 from last year, and I'm still working with one of them a year later. We're still, you know, connected and everything. So that's really cool. And then I did it last month, and I had I'm sure 20 calls, and that's translated into working with about, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 people now. And then this time around I had fewer calls, but well, I have like 6 calls, and they're not all completed yet. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's still exceptionally solid. And I'll tell you the other thing I love about this, for those of you that have just done this for the first time, is that it should be obvious at this point in time that this is not a one-time scenario. Like, as you go through this, it will get clearer and clearer and clearer to you about the quality of the community, the structure that makes this easy to connect with people, that actually just frankly puts money in your bank. So if you've done this once and you've followed through with or without instructions, Mostafa, you'll be back. Cool. Anything else, Elizabeth?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to JVology though.
Yeah. Cool. Did you already take the plunge and sign up? Awesome. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know who all has. We've had a heck of a run at it in the last little while, but welcome. We're going to have a ton of fun. And for those of you who haven't, we'll get you in there yet. Okay, Ariana, you were up next.
Yeah. Well, I learned the value of, and I always like that, I always do this, is I help first. And then if someone offers to help me, I'm like grateful because I don't expect it. Mm-hmm. But I did 2 Facebook Lives, one with Elizabeth actually on Friday, and it was a great conversation. And then with Mostafa today, this morning. And so it was just like great to be connecting with people. And if something comes out of it, great. You know, if they share what I'm doing, great. But there's like no attachment. It's like just giving and being present for them and sharing what I find of value to my people. And that's what I'm on about, because if it contributes to people, that's it. That's my payoff. And then like today I was thinking, wow, I might actually get some like affiliate payment. Oh, wow, that's cool. You know, like, it's like, I don't know, like a 2-year-old actually, kind of like the way I approach it is just through friendship and connection. And yeah, I just really like who you gather, Jay, and your energy and your presence. And I really enjoyed it. And so I've got more people in the pipeline as I speak, you know, as I say, you know, with conversations. I just got some projects to get done in May. And so I think there's going to be more.
That is awesome. And you and I both, I am never ceased to be amazed and grateful at the people who show up in these events and these processes, because it's always these astounding human beings that I love. So yeah, I ditto. Cool. Yeah. All right. Anyone else want to share or comment about what they noticed, what they learned, how this applied to them, any of those pieces? Yes, Teressa, please unmute you.
Hi, Jay. Thank you for having this event. This is my first time, and I definitely need to do it again. Okay. It was a learning process, but everyone that I had contact with was just beautiful. It was a lot of fun, and I'm learning and looking forward to it. My what I thought was my product has gone through changes. We are revamping it. So there's another revision coming along, and I'm a little clearer, more clear on it than I was when I went into this. I've had a couple of conversations. I'm doing market research now. And the conversations I've had from that is like, yeah, we need to work on this. So when I do it again, I'll be more JV ready, because right now I am in the process of getting ready. But I'll be there soon. I'll be there soon.
Can you give me the 2-second rundown on what the product is in terms of its next evolution? Or perhaps even better than that, Teressa, is what is the problem that the product solves?
The problem that the product solves is helping children ages 14 through 17 hold on to their dream so they aren't living their parents' dream. So it's helping them get ready and sowing the seeds of responsibility and accountability. When they finish the training, they will be more clear about their vision, their future, know where they're going, how they're going to get there, who they are, and who they want to be. So it gives them clarity.
Very cool. Very cool, very cool. And have you sold to the teen market before?
No.
Okay.
So this is new territory, virgin territory for me. My experience is in teaching. I was an art teacher in middle school, and I worked with the students there. And that's how I know that I was very concerned about these kids being able to hold on to their dream and not losing their dream. That's always been important.
And it happens for a multitude of reasons. And if you haven't already, you should make sure that you connect with Krista. Have you guys chatted yet?
Name sounds familiar.
She's the blonde lady saying hi.
You, about an hour ago, so we'll make sure and connect.
Okay. Hi, Krista.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Same here, Teressa. Teressa, when I'm dealing with high school athletes that aren't trying to figure out their dream and the dream of going to college and playing college sports, we should be talking also.
Okay, super. Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to say to you what I said to Krista back when she was starting this mastermind group that she runs for teens. That is incredibly, well, teen girls actually, to be more specific, is that there is incredible need in that marketplace, like incredible need. And I think more today than perhaps ever in the history of humanity in terms of technology, disconnection, like all of the things that transpire. But you have to also just acknowledge and recognize that you have a more complicated sales process than any of us that are dealing with a single entrepreneur where we're going to solve a particular problem. And
right,
that's,
you have to deal with the parents. I can't sell to the child. I have to talk to the parents, and that's you know, how do I do this? Like, it's not complicated enough as it is trying to put something together that's going to be appealing to a teenager. And then, okay, well, you have to deal with the parents too. The parents are the ones that are going to pay for it. So yeah, I'm having fun. Okay.
So just understand that and by the way, we used to run teen, so my background is personal development. We ran personal development workshops for 30 some years. We still do actually, but we ran teen weekends for probably 15 of those years, maybe 12 of those years. And here's where it was, is that we weren't set up for that two-stage process of we've got to sell both the parents and then the teen and try and weave those things together. So we would spend, frankly, as much time as it would take to put 100 adults in the room to put like 20 teens in the room.
Right.
In terms of having to talk to the one partner, then the divorced husband, then the grandma, then all that stuff. Anyway, it can be done and it's important and people will pay. Just make sure that the sales process, you're just prepared for a longer cycle and that cycle includes all of the parties. And Krista can probably talk to you more about that than anyone else I know on planet Earth. So you guys should totally connect.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, gang. So before we move on to our next step and stage, anything else required or anything else that you want to share in terms of what you noticed and all that fun stuff? If so, unmute yourself, introduce yourself. By the way,
I remembered what I was going to say. Can I share?
I don't know. It feels like you're kind of like out of line with the instructions and all. But,
So over the past few weeks, I've seen quite a few people where when I ask them, tell me about your list, the first thing they say is, well, I have a small list. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's like the wrongest way to present what you have. And so I'm like, all right, do you have 10 people on the list? They're like, no, I actually have 1,000 people on the list. I'm like, well, that's not a small list. Even if you had 100 people on the list, it's more a matter of your relationship with the list than how big the list is. Like you could have 10,000 people on the list, but nobody's opening your email. But you could have 100 people on the list and you ask them to say, go check Jay Fissette's course and 30 people sign up. I would much rather work with the people with a small list with a good relationship than someone with no relationship. So if you have any type of resources, please don't downplay your resources and talk about it and present it with confidence. It's a lot sexier.
And Mostafa, can you also add that other thing that you said about what list means? Because I really like that. When you said you like to look at how many they have, not just on their email, but everywhere else.
So for me, list is your social media list on Facebook and Twitter, your followers, the platforms you have access to. Maybe you have access to groups out there, like a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group, or on LinkedIn and different places. So
that whole thing goes back to our second day of platforms and resources in terms of how we're going to do those elements and put that together. 100%. Well put. And I just want to put the nuts and the bolts on it. Is like time and again, it is people whose list is small, but relationship is strong, that perform best. There's no question about it. Okay. Going once, going twice. I want to just make sure if there's anyone else that wanted to share their experience or what they noticed, I would love to create an experience with that. Ada, there we go. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. This was my very first time doing JVology, so I didn't have no idea what I was going to do. But your classes were perfect. I like it because they were short, so I have a busy schedule that was good to get it in. It was very precise, so I understand what I have to do, and I was able to follow instructions. And I got more response than I ever thought I ever will. Okay, I never thought, I never thought the resources that I have were that many. Until I started speaking with people, and even people, and the kindness of people, not only to hear what you have to say, but when they listen to you and then figure it out, you can also do this, and you can also do that, and you can also do this, giving you even more. And I'm not completely ready, like I don't have, the affiliate thing. I have to put it together. I have a group, I have a class, I have my product that I'm selling and all that. I just need to get the technology completely together. Mm-hmm. But people were so willing, and I got 7 people already that I'm working with that they say yes to what we're doing. And I still have a whole full schedule for the whole month of May, the rest of May and first week of June.
Awesome. That is outstanding.
I'm totally excited about this. And even if we don't do that, even if I don't connect with a person, I don't get an affiliate, a venture together, I learn from everybody. I have a mantra that said that the day that you don't learn is the day that you start dying.
I agree with your mentor quite substantially. So here's one of the lovely things that I appreciate about what you had said is that if we do this well, we can, number one, set these things up for months in advance. And the process of getting ready is, generally speaking, and this I'm going to back off the JV for the purposes of making money for a moment or two. And I get we're all entrepreneurs and we all need to pay our bills and all those things. But at the beginning stages, if you land in the eager and willing category, still getting some of the technology, those sorts of things, is that one of the greatest joint ventures in the entire universe is actually learning how to do this stuff with one another. Like that in and of itself, education, because any great JV is a sharing of network, wisdom, resources, and experiences. So that is an epic win. And you were just like a very perfect piece, like amazing.
I love that, and I'm sure I'm gonna be in the next one because I learned, and I'm perfecting my offer. I'm perfecting the things and I love the upstream and downstream. I didn't know I could work with so many people until you did that. I never thought.
That's awesome.
That was really, really, really awesome. I thank you so much because right now you have make a change. Only in visibility, when it comes to me, you have make a change because I'm in so many group things that people invite me to talk in their groups or in their podcasts. And that is even, forget it, that's a lot.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you, Ada.
Hi,
okay.
Can you hear me okay?
I got you, yes.
Okay, this is Minesha, everybody. Hi, I see a lot of faces. So good to see everyone. I was waiting to see if anyone said what my favorite part was, and I didn't hear anyone say it yet. So I said, okay, I guess I'll jump in and share my highlight moment. Outside of just the energy of the people and the type of people that you attract, I really enjoyed the conversation calls that I was able to have. My biggest aha moment was when you talked about what I now call like an asset list, where you were just pulling out and extrapolating from us the things that we take for granted and don't realize is value. That was a game changer for me because I never saw all those things and my list just got longer and longer. And so kind of gave me a little boost of mojo there, Jay. So I I have some stuff to offer because you do. In this industry, if you don't have this big, humongous list, then you kind of get like, how big is your list? How big is your list? And so that's really what it can kind of get around is that stats around that. So to be able to see that you have so much more to offer and to see that being such great value to other people was eye-opening. It was revelatory. It was inspiring. It was definitely my favorite part. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, I love that, Minesha. And I just want to add something in terms of how entrepreneurship, how joint ventures, how digital marketing is going to be evolving in the next, let's call it 4 months to 18 to 24 months is what the old days of, it's like, hey, how big's your list and will you mail for me? They are numbered at best is the nicest way to put this. And I would like to believe that we are leading the charge in terms of, look, what 10 years ago was actually a much simpler model in truth, has to evolve. It's going to be a little bit more complex for us to manage all the pieces with this distinction is that if we put our focus on the relationships, which Mark was just talking about earlier in the chat, if we put our emphasis on the relationships, then whether it's a email list, whether it's our Facebook group, whether it's the capacity to do a Facebook Live, all of those other elements, when that is taken care of, the rest of it is an absolute, the rest of it we can just figure out. It's just one more bit of technology as long as the relationship with the person is sound. So I think you hit the nail on the head. Don't worry about anybody who is attached to list size. Worry about the people who are sharp enough to care about the relationship. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well said.
My pleasure. Okay, so I have a quick question, gang, which is in terms of the foundation, and a bunch of you have already alluded to this in some way, shape, or form, but I want to just make sure that we say it exactly out loud. So how many of you, as you've been going through this process, are now in the spot of, okay, I feel pretty good about this. I think that I've got this working out. And there's still a couple of things I got to be perfectly clear about what it means to be JV ready, right? So I can get all of the pieces in place so that I can be a really great partner. Anyone in that spot? We hear about it over and over and over again. And I want you to notice, by the way, that even my dear friend Mostafa, who's been at this for a while and has been what I would say, well, pushing hard. He's been working at this diligently and doing well at it. Also had his hand up. And by the way, this is a process that, particularly those of you, any of you in the middle of someone would have a pivot. It's like, look, I know what I've been doing for like 10 years, and now it has to be a little different. Raise your hand, any of you pivoting? Okay. So even when we come up with a new product, service, or experience, or we've got a slight pivot in terms of how we're going to address something, whether it was, I'll use the JVology Live, which is exclusively an in-person event. Now the whole thing is online. And we had to reinvent everything from the physical box that gets sent out to all, we have to go through this process with every single thing that we do. So after we did our first ever one of these things, actually I got to close this so that it shows properly. There were just a bunch of people that were asking us like, well, wait a second, I feel like I understand this, but I don't feel like I actually have it mastered. So we added, there we go, you should be able to see that. We added a masterclass, and I'll just put the link in the chat here at the same time, if you can bear with me a moment. And basically what it is this. On Tuesday, which I guess is already tomorrow, I don't know where the hell time goes. On Tuesday at 1 Mountain, make sure that's right, 1 Mountain Time, yes. I will go through the Get JV Ready Masterclass. And what that really boils down is we're just gonna break down the pieces and the elements of all of the stuff that you have to have in place. And I'll give you a couple of little examples of each of those things, all the way from swipe copy to social media posts, to getting your affiliate link set up, to using whatever tracking system that you're going to, the whole shitaroo. There's no other way to put that. It's like just the whole kettle of fish, so you can actually see it from beginning, middle to end. And will there be a replay on the 2 classes? Kimberly, if all goes well, is the answer to that question. Shereese was there on one of the other master classes, and technology died, and then there was nothing. So if all goes well, sure. Otherwise, who the hell knows? Technology is inconsistent. So if you can get there, that's great. And just to be clear about it, it's a masterclass. It is not, and I want to be very clear and transparent with you. This is not pre-recorded. This is like none of that stuff. This is like, look, we're going to get in, we're going to build this shit out. If you have particular questions about your particular offer and all of those pieces, I'm there to answer those questions, connect those dots so that you can actually put those elements together. Krista, dance party. I think it was Jay that Jaye Miller got the dance party started, if I remember correctly. Well, I wasn't on there because I got kicked off, but Lana, yes, it was Lana. You're absolutely right. So if you haven't already signed up for this, I want to just make sure that you have that on your process. So we're going to go swipe copy, affiliate links, conversion testing, so you can get all of those pieces put together for you. Now, are there any questions I can answer just on the topic of getting JV ready that can support you right here, right now, as opposed to waiting for the masterclass? Or I'm happy to support with any and all of those processes. Yes, Miss Page.
Does that mean we have to have absolute clarity on our upstream and downstream? Because I'm still fixing or defining. Like, yes, I know who, but other than the 5 people that I got, it seems like I'm continually changing it and finiting it. And is that, do you want it more concrete than that?
So here's the non-committal answer to that page. The non-committal answer is this, is that most of the time when we're still in that product, in that process of really nailing our product service experience, raise your hand if you're in that boat. Okay, some of you yes, some of you no. Okay, in that boat, you are going to write what we're going to call generic swipe copy. And even the process of writing fairly generic swipe copy helps us get clear about what we're actually up to. Now, this is where at JVology Live, we're going to talk about what we call the joint venture success wheel. And basically there's 5 elements that when we're doing joint ventures in a significant professional manner, this wheel goes around and around and around, which means we keep revisiting, we keep tweaking, we keep adjusting, we keep reapplying, we keep improving, we keep up leveling. Okay. So you're going to start with what we're going to call generic swipe. And generic swipe is about 1,000,000% better than no swipe. And it's not as good as specific swipe when we're really dialed in on our upstream, downstream. Does that make sense? So we're just going to take the step that is in front of us right now based upon our current business understanding and our current business strategy. So come as clear as you are, and we're going to climb from where we're at. And just know that if you're in the spot, it's like, I'm going to have to write generic swipe. Raise your hand if you're going to have to write generic swipe. There's more of you than just Paige. Come on. Okay. All right. So if you're in the spot of writing generic swipe, then you just realize that what you've done is you've created the skeleton for your swipe copy that you will have to go back and tailor and specify as you get tighter and clearer about your upstream, downstream. Does that help?
Thank you, Jay.
You are very welcome. And by the way, gang, this is one of the pieces I want you to understand that we do our damnedest and go to great lengths in the community, which is it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be done and usable. And as long as you're committed to that ongoing process of working through the success wheel, every single time it'll get a little tighter, every single time it'll get better, every single time it'll convert better, every single time your partners will say, it's like, man, that was awesome. How'd you do that? It's like, well, I kept working it. That'll be the answer. Anything else I could answer about getting JV ready that might either compel you or scare you off of attending the masterclass? I'm fine either way, by the way.
I have a question, Jay.
Yes.
So my question, and of course I just lost it in the chat, but whatever. The question is about the link, like doing affiliate links and stuff.
Yes.
So I know there's lots of different types of tech for that. So are you going to be talking about just like the process in general, or are you going to be showing one specific type of tech for doing that?
Two things is I will talk about the process in general. I'll give examples just looking at our account itself. So I will show you what it looks like in our account, and there are so many choices with it. And gang, you just got to understand that I am technology agnostic. Frankly, I don't give a rat's patoot what you use, so long as what you use actually works and does the job. Now, I have a bias, and I'll declare my bias, get an integrated system. So you don't want one shopping cart, one email system, one affiliate system. Like that shit just breaks all the time. Like it just breaks all the time. By the way, even the integrated ones sometimes break. That's the truth of technology. But my bias is an integrated system where you don't have 6 logins and 7 things woven and hacked together. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was one other question, then we're going to hustle along.
Hey, has
Jay.
a question.
Oh, I think there was 2 other questions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Thanks. It's Mark. Can you hear me okay?
We got you, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm sorry. I'm in like deep quarantine mode as far as my appearance. So that's why I've got the headshot. I'm sorry.
But I had the debate about shaving, and it was like, no.
But this has been great, and I want to ask a question. It may be, well, let me just say my situation is I've had these sort of JV agreements in the sense that, you know, I've got a guy, you know, I'm in the U.S. I've had a good connection with a guy in Warsaw, and, you know, we have an agreement, signed agreement, but it's not, and I have one with another organization, but there's really not, either there's not an expectation, and I don't know if there's a comfort level with saying, well, I'm going to mail my list, or it's more like, you know, well, when I have my clients, if there looks like there's a good fit, I'm going to, you know, tell them about you. Yep. But it's not like, you know, there's the affiliate link and I mean, like all that automated stuff. So I don't know if that's a function of I'm just not I'm not up the sort of JV learning curve far enough or something else. But if I said to this guy, for example, who, you know, our businesses are very complementary. If I said to him, well, you know, would you email your list this information? I don't think he would want to do that.
Okay. So I 100% agree, and raise your hand if any of you in that spot. It's like I have people who've said yes, but we don't have a mechanic or a means by which to trigger a behavior that matters. Okay. So, and by the way, somebody saying yes and then doing nothing is not a behavior that matters. So here's the key thing to this. If you would mail your list with this information is radically different than I have this bit of value that you are going to look like a rock star for sharing with your tribe. Okay, so we have a positioning issue, Mark. One of the key elements is that we're looking for some component of value, some contribution, something that makes your partners look great because they sent it on your behalf. So step number 1 in getting that behavior to actually get moving and shaken is, what is the contribution that is impossible for them to say no to? Like, it's just like, oh my goodness, like Mark is just bending over backwards and doing this stunning thing for us. So I would suggest that that's the thing we're after. they don't want to send information. And frankly, their list doesn't want information. They want a result. They want value. They want something that's going to move the needle for them. So that would be point one. Point two, who here has ever read the product? It's called Launch, but it's about the product launch formula. Just raise your hand. Jeff Walker. I was in his Platinum Plus mastermind for a while, and smart guy. But the key thing about a launch is instructing a variety of partners to take a particular set of behaviors at a specific time with guidance and leverage is necessary. And the truth of the matter is this: we always have to remember, every single one of us on this call are busy with our businesses, are busy with our families, are busy with homeschooling our kids, are busy with cramming grade 9 math before homeschooling their kids, are busy with, all of that. So we have to think of it from the perspective of value, ease, and return. And I would suggest to each of you that if you've got partners that aren't performing as well as you'd like, then there's a value proposition issue, there's an ease issue, or there's a reward issue. And again, that's something that at JVology Live, we're going to dive into, getting our fingers on each of those dials, so that when you're practicing your invitations with the other 200 people there, they'll go, that I'm in for, meh, or that's somewhat interesting, but, because it takes feedback from our partners to really get that. That was a long answer, but does it give you some context, Mark?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I appreciate that, Jay. I think he sees the value. I mean, I think he actually said we should collaborate, right? And then we started talking about it, and it sounded like, well, I'm going to post this, but I'm not going to send this to my list. But he was the one who suggested that we work together in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So he sees the value, and I want to draw a distinction here, gang. This was one of the difficult things I had to wrap my head around. I'm going to suggest he sees the value in the solution to the problem that you provide. He has yet to see the value in something that he would send to his list that he would feel great about. Mm. And those are two very different things. Does that land for you?
Yeah, no, that's helpful. Very helpful,
okay.
Jay. Thank you.
So this is one of the reasons why one of your very first steps, gang, in all of this is to figure out the very best that you've got for what we'll call ethical bribe, landing page, downloadable PDF, some form of value that people are thrilled to share with their list. And by the way, as a generalization, that is the opening door to getting most partners to actually behave in the manner that you'd like them to behave. Like, for example, and let's just use this for an example. So those of you who've been through this process, how many of you would be pleased to say to your tribe, it's like, you know what, in 5 days, you could learn the fundamentals of joint venturing and get 5 JV partners, and the damn thing's free. You should do it. Would that be reasonable? Yeah. So we've got to have something like that moves people, that they go, oh, hell yeah. Okay. I'll talk more about it on the masterclass tomorrow, I promise. There was one last question, then we're going to hustle. Who was that? Going once? It wasn't? Okay, all good. Okay, so that is point number one. Now that is the first thing that we have to serve and support you with. And then here is the second one. And of course, guess what? It happened the same way, which is, get to the art of the invitation, is that we ended up doing a second masterclass after doing this the very first time, because people all said this. And by the way, almost everybody who spoke said this. It's like, the people that were here were so awesome, and I had fantastic conversations, and they're like heart driven. Like, raise your hand if you had any of that experience with our tribe and with our community. Yeah. But we'd always hear this as well. It's like, but now I want to go talk to my brother-in-law's friend who owns a business that is exactly perfect, but I have no idea what to say to them, and they don't have a clue about joint ventures. And I heard a chuckle or two. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. And there are two parts to what I'm about to say here. One of which is, you should never be limiting your joint ventures to just the people in this community. Okay. Not at all. So, Christian, you just said you had done some outside. It's like Yahoo, thumbs up, all the rest of it. But for many people, it's like, look, I have to learn how to do this, not inside of the warm fuzzies of JVology where it's like my homework and I really want to hear what's going on. We have to learn how to do this day to day at, if ever a live event comes back, at a live event, at a BNI networking meeting, at a. So this whole piece of the art of the invitation is aimed at taking the foundation that you've learned and putting it into language and foundation and structure so that you can have this conversation with anyone, whether they're cognizant of what joint ventures are or not. And please understand, you never want to be in a spot where you got to teach them joint ventures to joint venture. So ideally they get it or they don't. That said, there is a ton of opportunity in the world that is outside of this community. We want to support you to practice that. By the way, little not so subtle plug. I think one of the greatest values of JVology Live is the practice that you will have honing the art of the invitation. We'll teach you the framework. You're going to go out into your life and in your world, but come do it at JVology Live, because there's a whole bunch of people that weren't in the challenge, a whole bunch of people from inside the community, a whole bunch of people from outside the community, and you get this entire range of feedback about, yeah, I'm in, yeah, that makes no sense, or hey, where do I sign up? So if you want to do that one is Thursday. This one's an evening class and it is 6 p.m. Mountain. So if you want to get into that, Krista will put that one in that link in the list and link in the chat, and we'll get that done as well. Jeff Walker's recent interview on Paycheck Solution docuseries is great. Perfect. I will look that up, Jay. I did not know that. Quick question for you guys. Is 50% standard for an affiliate offer? My husband believes that 40% is fair because 10% will cover overhead and expenses. Could use your thoughts to help break the tie. Well, Minesha, let's be perfectly clear about this. The women are always right. Having said that, I will also share my opinion, even though my wife doesn't pay too much attention to it overall. On a serious note. So 50% is really the standard range for a purely digital program. And what your husband is talking about in terms of acknowledging and taking into consideration some of the delivery costs, that's where that thing goes up or down. Did I just freeze? Hello, 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 hello. Hola.
No, you're good. You're moving. I can hear your voice.
Okay.
I think you're good.
That's so strange. On my second monitor, I look like I'm having an aneurysm and I'm frozen. Let me just move that screen, see if that helps. One momento again.
Can you take it off share screen?
In one moment I will. I just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to grab that. There we go. Okay, seems better on this screen. Yahoo. So none of my stuff cut out there. I can say that I don't have to repeat anything. That was all clear, Minesha?
Yep, all clear. I heard you.
Oh, okay, perfect. So then let's just finish it up. Purely digital, 50%. If you're going down into something that has a fair amount of time, effort, energy, and all of those pieces, then that could go down to 10% plus or minus. But you really must take it into consideration of this is the digital part, this is the one-on-one part, this is the paid coaching part, this is the live event part, and come up with a number that makes sense. And here is the sort of more sophisticated way to think about this than what are my fixed costs? If I say there's 40% and then 10% for fixed costs, here's a slightly more sophisticated way to think about it, which is this. What does it cost me to acquire a client? And what can I afford to pay from a grounding of generosity for somebody who delivers a client? Because keep in mind is that you have marketing expenses, overhead expenses, all those sorts of things are going to happen anyway. But if I just show up at your doorstep and say, I have a paying client, here's the cash, that is for the most part found money, meaning that it wouldn't have happened through your traditional distribution methods. So in that circumstance, you've got to really think about what am I willing to pay to acquire a client? And in most joint venture circumstances, what we're talking about is that that's just the first process. And you will be able to have other offers and invitations for that particular client. That is where you make most of your money. The best way to think about it is the JV is a way to frankly buy a client that you will do further work for. And as long as you have a decent back end, that model works out pretty well. Does that help contextually frame that conversation?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
Cool. And here's the last thing just on that note. Particularly at the beginning of getting our heads and hearts wrapped around this entire process, just err on the side of generosity. Just err on the side of generosity. The truth of the matter is that more and more people are doing this and you've got to stand out. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, one last, oh, was there another one real quick? Unmute. I'm happy to answer.
No, that was Minesha's baby.
Ah, cool. How old?
Yes, 16 months. Sure.
Oh, that is awesome. Congratulations. So cool. Okay. Now, on a mechanical note, how many of you have been at least gone and checked out the JVology live sales page, all of those pieces? Okay. Now I know a bunch of you have actually been there already. Some of you have, some of you haven't. So I'm going to put in a link that has been sent to you. This link is turned off tonight. And this is the link for the special offer for the ticket to JVology Live for half price. Yes, Monica?
I actually did a transaction on Friday, and I've actually sent an email to support, and I'm still waiting because I'm getting 2 emails at the same time. One, because well, what I'm thinking I did, because my credit card got charged, I registered for the VIP ticket, right? So I keep getting emails. One email is your card got declined. Please do your card again. And another one going, send us, please confirm where to send the box.
Yeah.
So okay. I'm getting kind of 2 of them, and I'm not quite sure. I want somebody to check what's going on and whether I haven't paid enough or I've paid more, whatever I've done, but something's not right there. So if somebody can check, I'll be grateful.
So Krista will jump in and check for you and get that done tonight. And are you from Australia?
Yes.
Yes. Whereabouts?
Brisbane.
I flew there like 8 times in 1 year and actually loved Brisbane. So short version is this. Sometimes what happens with out of country cards is that it shows at first that it doesn't get charged, and then the credit card company lets it through. So I'm going to wager what has transpired is that the initial process was held and then the credit card company let it through. So we'll clean it up and get it taken care of for you. Don't worry about it. But we just, Krista will reach out and figure it out. No worries.
Yeah, thank you. Because yeah, I don't want to lose what I'm trying to buy. And
And just to be clear about this, that falls back in that category of technology is marvelous and imperfect. And if shit ever goes awry, we'll just fix it. You don't have to worry.
Okay, yeah, because I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You're going to have long, weird days with the time change, but all right, perfect. So that link there gets you the half price for the regular ticket, half price for the VIP. And I just want to give a simple, clear plug to, if you're going to do this, you really should consider doing the VIP. And let me just show you that very, very quickly. Because one of the pieces that we're doing, and I want to be, I thought I had that open, but I did not. It'll just be a second. As a VIP, which is generally $397, you can do that for $297. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Too many buttons. Try that one more time. So one of the key pieces, it's just getting going there, that I want to bring your attention to is, first and foremost, you're going to get a physical box. Everybody's going to get a physical box so long as you're in North America or in Australia. You'll get it approximately 7 months after the event is over. It'll be awesome. You'll love it then. So on a serious note though, number one, you will get an interview with Krista that will get broadcast on our Facebook page. It goes onto our YouTube channel, and we utilize it and share it in our entire community. That little interview positions you perfectly, and people will get to know who you are even before the event. So you'll get JV partners lined up even before the event occurs. In the box, you get a cool, funky t-shirt. You get a wine glass with our logo on it. You get a whole bunch of other tools and resources that are fantastic. Now, here's the part, and I could give you a whole bunch of things, but truly, we'll do JV brokering for you. Anyone who chooses to sign up for a VIP, we will go through our entire roster and database looking for 5 people on your upstream and your downstream that we believe fit on your upstream and downstream, and we will do personal introductions. Just to be clear about this, the only other way to get this from our, in terms of, vetting, filtering, going through our I'm a little old, so I'll call it Rolodex, but our database. The only other way to do that is be one of our JV Mastery members, which costs anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. And literally, we built it into this because we really want this to be what we would call the most immersive experience we've ever had. So you can do it for $97 and come and have fun, and you'll learn a ton. You'll get a bunch of partners, or you can go what we're going to call the full meal deal and actually have us promote you, structure you, introduce you, and do all of those other pieces. So whatever you choose, choose wisely, but come play with us, because there's nothing you could do better in your life for $97 on that weekend. I give you my word. And if you want to go whole hog, then do the VIP. Anything I can answer about that before we're done, before I move on from that?
I got a question.
Brother? Yeah.
I signed up for the regular ticket, but I want to upgrade to VIP since you told me about it, and
Yes.
I don't know where to go.
Oh, well, it's written in the instructions in very fine print. And I totally couldn't resist that. I was so... Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a bit of an ass. And Mostafa and I are old friends. Just send Krista a text. She'll take care of you.
Okay, good.
All right.
Yeah, gang, if you haven't signed up for VIP, you should definitely do that. It's well worth it. There's probably more into it that he just talked about.
Oh, there is. Always. So that was that. Okay. Those are mechanical details. Anything else I can answer, my friends? Anybody interested in winning something like super duper cool? Okay. Awesome. That is fantastic. Let me check my list of the 17 other things we have to do first. I'm in a weird mood tonight. I'm sorry. I really am. I actually did forget it. I was teasing until this. I think many of you have done this, but if you have not, because number one, you should 100% come to the JVology Live online event. But here's a brief joint venture invitation that I've actually forgot about. And I just actually put the link in the chat, which is this. If any of you want to bring your tribe to JVology Live to support them, we would love for you to do that. And if you share, number one, sign up as a partner. I think some of you have already done that in terms of the 5-day challenge, but sign up as a partner. Any tickets that are sold, you get paid 50%. So if somebody buys a $197 ticket, you get $98.50. If they buy a VIP, you get $200. So you can actually make money attending the event. And should they choose to participate and play with us in a larger program, what we call our joint venture mastery, you get paid $1,000. So it's one of those things where you can learn and you can earn at the same time. So I put that link in there as well. Okay, just... Mostafa says that's US dollars, so it's about $1,000 Canadian per ticket. I think you're rounding down, but it's not far off the mark. Okay, now, and I mean this, actually, let me just say one other thing about choosing to be a partner there, is that if you brought one person, for the most part, your ticket is paid for, depending on what you choose to do, right? So if you bring one person, you're in the realm at a regular ticket. You bring 2 people at VIP, you're paid for, and you're square before you even start, which is awesome. So you can think about it from that perspective as well. But the other part about this is, for goodness sake, bring people you want to partner with, right? So if there's somebody's like, you're an ideal upstream partner, but they don't have a damn clue about joint ventures, let me do the heavy lifting, teaching them what it is. And when I'm done the heavy lifting, you say, hey, by the way, we should do something. And that strategy works time and time again. I have people who've come back to JVology Live like 6 times. Each time they bring a partner that they want to do a deal with, and then they do deals. So anyway, that's it for the strategy. Okay, now we in a moment are going to, I have to share the screen one more time so that you can see all of this. And I want to make sure that everyone understands what we are drawing for. Gang, just bear with me. These 2 screens can sometimes be a pain in my butt. Come on, camper. There we go. I think I got it working now. Okay, so you should see the special offer for the JV Success System on your screen. Yes? Okay, so this is what we're drawing for in a moment. And what it includes, just so we're all clear, is the Joint Venture Success System. That is a 26 module program that takes you from the beginning of knowing what a joint venture is all the way through to, in my humble opinion, being a pro. That includes a bunch of bonuses, including the Know Your Metrics online training for $197, the six-figure launch secrets, which, by the way, we've been selling for $497, is worth way more than that. And in this case, you get 2 tickets to JVology Live. So these are 2 regular tickets, so one for you, one for somebody you want to do that with. That whole foundational package is $46.85. But for this purpose, we're going to do way better than that, which includes the JVology Global Lounge. 2 calls a month, one for JV partners, one for tech and support to put those pieces together. You also get the JVology Roadmap, which is a 14-day email course that gets you ready for JVology Live, so you hit the ground running. And I will JV with you, which we put a conservative value of $5,000 on it. You always use Rob Goyette's example just because it was a simple offer, all those pieces. Last time he and I did a JV, he made $15,000, I made $15,000. So if your offer is crafted and you're ready and you're on track, then we have at least $5,000. So if you put those 2 things together, the total value is $11,346, and we are going to give that away now. So here's how this goes. Everybody has to unmute. Okay, and then everybody has to do a drum roll. All right. The jackpot wheels are a-spinning. All right. Now, Krista's been going through the pieces like crazy in terms of who's posted and who hasn't posted and all those fun, wonderful things and who is here. So, Krista, our winner is?
Our winner is Aida.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, Jesus. Yay. Oh, my God. I won it. That's my husband.
I won what?
Oh, that's my son.
Very special prize.
A gift certificate on McDonald's.
Oh my God, I was gonna cry. I don't want to cry here.
Cry.
Oh, cry. We love getting on camera.
Oh something that is gonna give you the money for your PlayStation. So go.
Oh, bet. That's awesome. Okay, so congratulations first and foremost. Anything you'd like to say?
Oh my God, you just made my day, my life, and my business. Oh my God. Beautiful. I have no words to say.
Yeah.
I won it.
Congratulations. All right, gang. So welcome to the JVology family. I know with the time, effort, and energy that you put in and who you are, you will be well loved and well supported in the community. So welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. Oh my God! Oh my God!
So that, by the way, Kimberly says speechless? Question mark.
Oh my God.
I so love that. Okay, so on that note, gang, we are going to wrap up momentarily, and I want to remind you, please come to the follow-up events because they will make a monumental difference for you. Please get yourself registered for JVology Live. That link goes dead in terms of its special piece tonight at midnight Mountain. So just take the plunge and get the damn thing done. If you need special arrangements or you need an order adjusted or any of those sorts of things, just reach out to Krista. She'll take exceptional care for you. She is our Director of Member Care. And as a member of the community, you'll get to know her a whole lot better. And what's the other thing I wanted to say about all of that? What am I missing? Krista, Michelle, you guys generally fill in the blanks when my brain goes dead.
See everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, see everybody tomorrow. Okay. I do think it is pretty much that simple, my friends. Oh, I guess the last part to this. I know that the last piece was about follow-up, but here's the thing I want each of you to consider, for those of you that are cognizant enough to show up in this process, is what I really want you to do is make sure that you follow up, not just on the phone calls that you have booked. but follow up with meaning and intention about what is the contribution you can make. Do a little homework on people before the calls. Actually do what's necessary to get those people nailed down and in great shape so that you have a meaningful connection and contribution. Because here's the truth. And people keep coming back to this because it generates great partners, but you have to see it all the way through. The 5 days is done, but really the 5 days was the hi, how are you? Where the real game is is in the follow-up, is in the building of the relationship, is in continuing to show up in the community so that people continue to see you and build that relationship so that you have that distribution network built by the time that product, service, and experience page, as you were talking about tweaking, is actually perfectly refined. The time to build your JV partnerships is now, not after the book is done, not after the digital program is done, not after any of those sorts of things. That is completely backwards. So you got to do it now. So follow up, treat everybody here like gold, as though they were your mom or your sister or your brother or somebody, well, depending on the family, or somebody you like. It was only funny to a couple of us, apparently. But on a serious note, please, please, please take care of one another. And thank you for being here. We will see you soon, and we'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock Mountain, to get yourself JV ready. We will see you soon. Good night, all, and congratulations again, Ada. That was awesome.
I'm so excited. I cannot even. I don't think I'll be able to sleep tonight.
All those prayers paid off, Ada.
I believe I did. I did a lot of prayer because I really need this help. I'm not technology savvy at all, so I need every help when it comes to that part of my business.
That's beautiful.
You're gonna be super fun to work with.
Yes.
I just reached out to you, Ada, on
Mr. Jay, thank you. If I was there, I would give you a hug.
I would love that. We will. That will happen as soon as this damn pandemic is over.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, all.
Bye, everybody.
Jay.